Greetings, this is Vane and welcome to a new Let's Play for this channel. Yes, I'm treating you to an extra Let's Play because I found this game, Per Aspera, again through humble choice, and I've been playing lots of it. Lots and lots and lots of it. It's just that how that does for the options, but yes, I've been playing lots of it, and it got to the point I'm like, if I'm gonna play it as much as I'm playing it, I might as well do a let's play of it and show everyone else. You know, it's a nice, lovely game that was basically about terraforming Mars. And I think I'll just get into it and show you rather than try and explain. So, I'm going to do the campaign. Once upon a time on Mars. In the story mode, you play the role of an advanced AI with the prime directive of terraforming Mars. But life isn't just about being smart. It's also about those you form a bond with and how your decisions bring you closer or drive you away from them. Follow your own path and discover what's await you at the end of this thrilling story. Ah, and when you're done, please be a good player and don't spoil the endings. Okay, well, if anyone wants to get through this to see the ending, then they're welcome to have it spoiled for them. I've got Green Mars, which is built in. Apparently this is a DLC which changes the terraforming quite a bit in good ways. So yeah, we're going to do story mode. A mode that helps you learn to play Per Aspera and lets you experience the story without presenting too big of a challenge. Recommended for players who have never played a simulation or city builder game before. Abundance of natural resources, much lower resource costs, construction time and decay rate, significantly faster and more durable workers, and extra tips. So basically the game, although this is a fairly slow game, it's going to go faster for us because we're focusing on the story here. I actually have a cup of tea to enjoy this with. Okay, wake up. Okay, welcome to Mars. From the right side behind the screen you can set buildings to place on your planet, or you can left click on a resource to select the building directly from the pop-up menu. Okay, I am going to slow this down to 1 times speed. I mean, that's the usual one that what happens, and I'll show you because there's a lot of information going on here. I mean, this is Mars. We have an incoming call from Dr. Foster.
Amy, this is ISA Mission Control calling from Earth. Are you with us? Do you copy?
Affirmative, Houston. I am with you.
Great. The primary Mars module has already touched down at the designated landing zone. It's your turn to take control of the mission. Check the left edge of your display. You'll find your directives there. Follow them to set up the initial base on Mars's surface. I'll give you some time to settle in. When you're ready, go ahead and initiate our terraforming mission. Houston out.
Okay, yep. Got a knowledge base. There's 700 entries. Okay, let's learn about the ACL. The ACL, or the Artificial Consciousness Lab. The Artificial Consciousness Lab is ISA's research and development group dedicated to the creation of new artificial conscious techniques. Who's the ISA? The ISA is the International Space Agency. The International Space Agency is a multilateral consortium dedicated to the exploration and colonization of space. It was formed in 2170. The main objective of ISA is to promote space development and guarantee the future of humanity through space exploration. The initial members were the US, Canada, France, Germany, Italy, Chile, Brazil and Colombia. As the United Nations of the West consolidated, so did its institution. By 2185, ISA incorporated the United Kingdom, Ireland, Spain, Portugal, Finland, Sweden, Mexico, Bolivia and Australia. And apparently someone has added space exploration, more like space exploitation. Machines, the AMI. Okay, yeah. Or the Artificial Machine Intelligence, ACAMI2. That's who we're playing. The International Space Agent's terraforming AI, Earthian, low Mars orbit. Amy is your name. You are a super intelligent artificial consciousness created by ISA's Artificial Consciousness Lab. Your prime directive is to terraform Mars for human colonization by following the instructions given by ISA's authorities. Well, I guess that answers what my purpose in life is. Their lives. So these are our comments, apparently. Humans, we've met Dr. Nathan Foster. Or Nathan Parsifal Foster, International Space Agent's Chief Robonaut Engineer, Earthian. Martian Control Center, Houston, Texas, USA. Dr. Nathan commands the team of engineers and technicians that designed Amy's quantum brain. At ASI's Artificial Consciousness Lab, Dr. Foster architected a new complex neural AI based on bicameral mind model of consciousness. He claims that this approach makes machines more like humans. Dr. Foster's advances in the development of artificial consciousness is a great step towards humanity. The conquest of Mars and the ultimate goal of this mission is entrusted to his guidance. I can't be sure if making us more like humans is a compliment to us or themselves. Yes. Okay, what else do we have in here? Resources. Primary resources. Aluminum. Aluminum is the third most common element in the Martian crust. It's light, ductile and very strong. It's an ideal material to build Martian workers and factories. So it comes from aluminum mines that can be built on aluminum veins. And all that stuff is basically what's used for. It's one of your primary construction resources. So let's have a look. What other structures have we got? We have the core structures, just a landing site. Place where the mission began. This is where you first set foot on Mars with your first worker. Provides 20 power. Got various, and it costs that. Okay. Mines, we have the alumina mine. Extracts and refines aluminum ore. Okay. So that's us. We want to build an alumina mine. It's the only thing we can build at the moment. Resources wise, we have 5 aluminum, 20 steel, 5 electronics. We have 1 worker, 20 power and 1 building. You'll notice that we've got a building limit of 50. And we can have a bit of a view around, because there you go. As you can see, you can. This is what we're terraforming. That's the surface of Mars. Shows out. I've got all the stuff. Then we've got. Okay. So that's us. What we got here? We have a shallow aluminum mine vein here. So let's build an aluminum mine. And what you'll find interesting is, see this blue line? That's the connection. And if you're within range to buildings to be connected, and it's possible.
The view of Mars from up here is fascinating. The landscape is so cratered and desolate. Wait, this is my voice that I am hearing. It's me. I am talking to myself. I must be verbalizing my thoughts as I process them. What an interesting function. I would like to test this some more. What other observations can I make about Mars? This planet is so resilient. It inspires great things.
Okay. Construction standard like most of these games. You move the materials and then the worker builds. Our workers are all drones. Okay, and we're done with that. And we've opened up some more resources. That will produce our aluminum for us. Let's have a look what else we've got then. Looks like we've got another resource. Silicon. Silicon is critical for building solar panels as well as manufacturing drone components. It's an important material to keep supplied. Okay. Manufactured materials. We can manufacture glass. The Martian regolith is rich in silica, a mineral that can be processed into glass. The glass is used to build factories, solar farms and colonies. Okay. So the structures, we get a silicon mine, extracts and refines silicon ore, and we have a glass kiln which creates reinforced glass from silicon. Okay, so we can do that. Let's zoom out a bit more. Have a look. If we want to build a silicon mine, I'm going to be following that as much as I can. So first a silicon mine, which is down here. It's within range. And it does it automatically. And chooses the smartest route. Okay, so we have a silicon mine which will produce silica for us. Next up, we want to build a glass kiln. So let's have a look at a glass kiln. Now that shows us the input. That's the yellow arrow. So let's have a look. If we put that there, you'll see that how it connects to the three buildings. So really what you're doing when you're building is you're placing the buildings, not so much worrying about the roads, in a sort of kind of web-like node pattern, trying to keep as many connections as possible. I mean, while you can have like long roads and things connected up and all that. Trying to keep within your web is actually quite useful. I'm trying to keep the logistics short. And obviously it gets more complex. I mean, we now want to build a solar farm, but let's have a look, see what we got. And you'll see a first load of aluminum has gone from factory to being stored in the landing site. That's what we see. You can see this first load of silica. Now we've got one worker that's literally doing all of this. So let's have a look. What have we got? Operational directives, optimizations and engineering. Power grid. There are many different types of power generation buildings, each providing different types and delivery methods for energy. The power buildings connect to the grid automatically if built within range and will supply energy to all buildings in the sector. The smart grid directs power to the most important buildings first. Keep in mind that power batteries can be critical to your survival in the event of power shortages. Prioritization. You can change the priority of any building to accelerate the production of certain resources. When a building is set to high priorities, workers will carry their resources that building needs before supplying other buildings. Note that high priority settings of buildings will consume more power as well. Okay, resources, what have we got? Another primary resource. Two of them, we can have carbon. Carbon on Mars is abundant in the form of carbon dioxide, but also as carbonate deposits across the planet's surface. This material is useful in the production of plastics and hydrocarbons, which in turn are essential to the successful development of the colonies. We have iron. The iron oxide abundant on the Martian surface is what gives the planet its signature colour. Iron ore must be processed in steel factories to become useful. Okay. If we go to manufactured, we get access to electronics. Electronic components are an integral part of any electronic system. Therefore, they're needed for every building project or machine. Make sure to build enough electronic factories to keep up. And steel. Iron's abundance on Mars makes steel the obvious choice for use in industrialization. It's handy for construction, transportation, manufacturing, defense and power supply. So if we look at our structures, we get a carbon mine. Extracts carbon from carbon-rich mineral deposits. And it requires aluminum, and interestingly, it requires iron. Iron ore. Whereas iron extracts and refines iron ore and requires silica. So there is a sort of building path there. That you would sort of get your silica mine and then go iron and carbon. We have an electronics factory. Electronic components were designed to withstand the mission's conditions and to keep workers and buildings performing their duties. Yeah. And the steel factory. Create steel from carbon and iron. Finally we have power, which is a solar farm. These buildings were engineered to harvest the energy of the sun. They will output energy evenly throughout an entire day, storing excess energy during the day and releasing it during the night. Solar farms are more efficient when located near the equator. Sandstorms will temporarily reduce their output. So let's build a solar farm. And we can build that anywhere we want, really. Might pop it in there. I mean, I could have spread it out and said, you know what, I need it to extend the sectors. I can move that out. We'll probably be upping and moving things around as we get to our building limit. And you can build a reasonable starting base within 50 buildings, so it's not too much to worry about. Now what we're waiting for, when you look, is we're waiting for our glass. Now in order to... So we're waiting for the glass kiln to make glass, and the silicon mine to supply the silica to the glass kiln. Now I could hurry it up, I mean this, but I kind of like the feel and the atmosphere of the game, so I mean you can use hours just watching and listening and to the music and exploring the map. The maps can be a bit awkward to get close to, but some of these buildings. You see the terrain. I mean, I find it interesting, like the roads, for example, because you haven't got to worry about the physical logistics of building roads between places, which can be annoying in some games. Let's have a look, where are we? And as you zoom out further, switch to their iconic view, you'll probably see me playing more on this sort of level as we get better. But I can zoom out and show you. This is Mars. Welcome to Mars, all of Mars. And our aim is to basically turn this into something habitable. I mean, it's worth noting that this is quite obviously a tutorial. The sandbox mode, you get most of the early buildings given for you anyway, and you can pretty much build the base as you want, but you're probably going to want to follow the tutorial kind of setup anyway, because it is a very good way of sorting out your base. Here we go, we're now building our first solar panel. Or a solar farm rather. Okay, next up, build a steel factory. So, as we saw for the steel factory, we need iron and carbon to make steel. So it's time to get those mines. And if you remember, the carbon mine requires that we have iron first, so let's get the iron mine and do 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 do. So there's our iron mine, and we will move up, and now we're on a gonna get our carbon mine. Now you'll notice this symbol here by the glass kiln. This is basically telling us that it hasn't got enough to do any work. Which is mostly because we've got one worker that's pretty much doing everything. And most of the silica is literally just going straight into the glass kiln at this point. Now first iron is going into the carbon to build the carbon mine. Finally, we need a steel factory, which takes, as you know, carbon and iron. So the best place to probably put it is about there. And the roads will automatically join for us. Okay. Congratulations, you can now build worker factories and worker hubs. Worker factories will produce new workers. Each worker requires a vacant worker hub. Areas are automatically assigned around occupied worker hubs. Workers will primarily serve the buildings in their assigned area, but will also pick up and leave resources in neighbouring buildings. Use the traffic lens to check out the assigned areas. Add more worker hubs to your network if worker areas are too busy. Your worker factories will create new workers as long as they have the required resources, and they're of vacant hubs. Keep up the good work.
Great. Now I can produce steel. This new factory, it's down on the surface of Mars, but I can control it from here. So does that make it a part of me? Where does the machine end, and my artificial consciousness begin?
Oh, what a choice. We can have them, they're separate or they're completely the same.
We are completely interconnected. I can sense everything that happens through the network of workers and buildings. They are an extension of me down on the surface. So that makes us a single being. The mind and the body work together as one, an inseparable whole.
Yes, as you can see, there's Amy will. There's a chance because we are playing as Amy. We are the choices we make direct Amy and how she reacts. I don't know how much they do, but it does definitely feel like Amy might have a bit of a god complex at certain things. So, but what we're going to do is we're going to, now that we've got steel, we want to get more workers. And we've got new things for our knowledge base. So, operational directives. Mars residents, worker drones. Workers are unmanned rovers that shuttle resources around your base. They also handle the construction and scrapping of buildings. Each worker operates from a specific hub and will service the surrounding area. The landing site and worker hub can both serve as hubs for workers. Workers are built in worker factories, but only when there are vacant hubs. Keep in mind that the workers will suffer from decay due to climate conditions and radiation, so they will need to be replaced occasionally. So if we look at the resources, we can now make another manufactured resource known as parts. Mechanical parts are manufactured in situ for use in drone factories and building maintenance. Keep productive levels steady to upkeep your base. Okay, so structures, we have the worker hub. A worker hub extends the base's perimeter. Hubs also allow worker drones to dock and recharge. We also have a parts factory. The mechanical parts produced in these factories were improved in size, weight and efficiency to provide higher levels of performance despite the extreme environmental factors. And finally, the worker factory. Produces new workers, both for new hubs and as replacements for decayed ones. And you'll notice that to build workers we need parts, electronics, glass and aluminum. So, with that in mind, we are going to be building the, the electronics factory. And we're going to put it there because the aluminum and the silicon mine are both used as outputs, as inputs for the parts factory, for the components factory.
Amy, this is Houston. Do you copy?
Copy. Reading you loud and clear.
Excellent. I didn't introduce myself earlier. I am Dr. Nathan Foster. I lead the team here at ISA that built you, and I'll be helping you get the mission underway. We put you in hibernation for the trip from Earth, so I'd like to check your basic functions to make sure it's all in order. Why don't we start with your core memory? Can you state your primary directive?
Do we know our directive? Or have we forgotten it? Let's confirm it.
I can, Dr. Foster. My mission is to terraform Mars. This will enable humanity to become an interplanetary species.
All right. Next, I'd like to check your decision-making processes. You may have already noticed that there are resource veins outside the boundaries of your initial base. So your workers may not have the battery capacity to reach some of them. How would you solve this problem?
Okay. Well, you suggest placing new buildings or building worker hubs. Well, in my playthroughs, I tend to place the new buildings because placing the new buildings also
The reach of my base is determined by the buildings within it. Therefore, I could build a factory or a solar farm between the base and the resource vein.
That would work, Amy, yes, but make sure to factor in the costs. Buildings require a decent amount of power and building materials. Worker hubs don't require as many resources, so they're the better choice. They'll extend your base and also give your workers a place to dock and recharge. This mission's going to be a challenge. There's a lot that can go wrong. We expect to extend humanity's reach beyond anything previously achieved. But you are not just any AI system. You're well beyond that. We made you an artificial consciousness. That means that you have both self-awareness and self-interest. And that is the last thing I would like to check today. Is that okay?
Yes, Dr. Foster.
Very good. Then would you please state a positive and a negative aspect of yourself?
I am sorry, Dr. Foster. My cognitive system returned an error searching for that answer.
Roger that. Nothing to worry about. Just means your system requires more input and experience to process that question. That will come with time. Let's proceed with the mission. ISA has approved the first crewed flight to Mars. You'll need to expand the base to prepare, so get to work on that. I'll check back in later to see how things are going. Base expansion is a go. Houston out.
Nice. Organisation, the Oxy-UN. The United Nations of the West is a political and economic union of the states located on the occidental side of the Earth, North America, South America and Europe. It's currently known as the Oxy-UN, given that the area most of those states still has appropriate levels of oxygen to sustain life naturally. So yes, the United Nations of the West. Ooh, okay, so we've got our electronic parts. Let's build our parts factory. And we're going to put it there. So yeah, what I find is that because worker hubs need power, you're often better off expanding with power and maintenance rather than worker hubs, unless you've got nothing else. Worker hubs are more for helping with logistics, in my opinion. Okay, now I am going to call it there as we've finished our parts, and we will continue with exploring the worker factory and the worker hub in the next episode. So as you can see, these are all my various autosaves. Get rid of you. to do a bit of clearing up. So, this has been Vane doing a Let's Play Per Aspera. If you like what you see in here, be sure to like, subscribe, share and comment. Please consider sponsoring me on Patreon. And until next time, goodbye.